Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my absolute favourite products from 2018. Now I'm not doing like multiple of this, multiple of that. I'm doing like my top of like each category. I've put them all on my face today. So I have like one foundation, one bronzer, all in that order. I have two powders, but there's like a reason which we'll get into. I also used a couple of items that I enjoy, but I can't say they're my favourite because I haven't compared them to anything else. I will start with those two just to as a disclaimer. I have my Kiko Long Lasting Intense Colour White Eyeliner. I don't really use any other waterline eyeliners, so I can't kind of tell you that this is better than any others. Do you know what I'm saying? Also, I have the L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper. I use this every day to set my brows. I don't have any other brow gel, so I can't say that this is better than any other. So as much as I love these, I can't necessarily say they're the best of the best for me this year. Now we've got that out of the way. If you like this kind of video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave. And if you press that notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload. So if you can hear this weird rattling noise in the background, that is my windows. They're I live in quite an old flat and it's really windy outside and the windows are banging a little bit, but there isn't actually anything I can do about that. I've tried my best. I stuff some of them down the sides with cotton wool, but still sometimes it isn't enough. So I am sorry if you can hear that in the background, but I needed to kind of get on filming this. It's 11 o'clock at night by now. So I am going to start base products and work my way out. So for foundation, it was always going to be the CYO Long Lasting Life Proof. You can see how much of this I've used. Look how much of that is gone. This is super smoothing. It has a really nice neutral undertone, which I like. The only problem with this is it's a little dark for me, but only a touch. And I'm okay with that, to be honest. It's so smoothing and looks so nice on the skin. I get compliments on my makeup every time I wear it. And they always know it's makeup because it's me and there isn't a day when I've gone into work and it's not been a full face. But it is just a lovely, affordable option as well. So this is exclusively at Boots in the UK. So this would be drugstore in America. It's exclusively sold in Boots here. I absolutely love this foundation and I definitely need to buy myself another bottle before I run out, because if I run out, I'm going to be really sad about that. I really should have got it when it was on sale. I was totally up for getting another bottle and then I was there but Jess, you've got loads of foundations that you could use up. But I definitely am going to buy another bottle of this. It's just incredible. Concealer. So one of my favourite concealers this year has been the Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. It's a game changer. The shade 0.5 is a shade that I use and it is light enough. I absolutely love it for creating a flawless base under my eyes. There is some creasing, but the problem with that is I have creasy under eyes. I have wrinkles. There isn't really anything I can do to stop that, but this doesn't emphasize that, and that's kind of what I needed. I need something light enough, and Sam says since I've started using this more pinky tone 0.5 that I look more awake, which is actually really rare. But then thinking about it, use a more orangey pink to cancel out the dark circles under here. So having a bit more of a pinky tone concealer rather than yellow toned might do us all a bit of good. The F1 is yellow toned, so when I use that I do use the whitener, but the 0.5 on its own is absolutely fine for anyone that is super pale. So to set my under eyes, I do tend to go for the Revolution Pro Press powder. I do like the way that this sets my under eyes without a tint of colour. I do find that it will be a flashback Mary moment if you use it for flash photography. I don't mind that so much for my under eyes. Do you know what I'm saying? It just brightens it all up. It goes on first before my other powder does. And I just find it sets the under eyes really well. I don't tend to have many problems with this powder. I don't find it super long lasting or anything like that, but it is a decent under eye setting powder. And I much prefer it to my Maybelline Fit Me powder and some of the other translucent setting powders that I've tried under my eyes. Now the Cotier Spun Powder is my absolute favourite all-time powder that I use for my cheeks. I can't use it for my under eyes because although it says it's translucent, it has a tint. I'm not gonna lie, and it makes everything kind of even, which is fine if I want like a bit of coverage here, or I want it to like all be the same colour, saying I'm having a blotching moment. This also has like a really strong smell. I open it and Sam can smell it all the way across the room, but I freaking love the smell of this. You get like a ton of product. I use this constantly, and this is like my first ever tub. Like, there's a huge amount of product. You can use it for baking. I love it for like carving out my contour if I want to. I can use this like all over my face, except I don't like to use it for the under eyes because of the tint. I am aware, I haven't tested this myself, but I'm under the impression that this also has some flashback problems. So unfortunately, my recommendations for you aren't super like flashback friendly. But this is absolutely lovely and it's super affordable. I got mine on Amazon for £15, which is where you can get it in the UK. I believe it's drugstore in the US as well. Looking down, nearly every single item that I have to like recommend to you is drugstore. So the two Revolution products I absolutely love. I use like my brow one. Like, you guys know this one. This is like a Revolution Redemption palette. You can see where I've hit pan, like on this shade here. Like, it's perfect for my brows. It's the perfect brow shade. Super cool toned. Don't need to hear more. I like use it on the daily. Like, if it's not in my description box in one video, it probably is on the next one. I also kind of love the Pro HD like powder contour in light medium. I use these two shades and mix them. Like, this is a decent setting powder for like under the eyes, which is quite light. So if you want to maybe try that, this is quite good. I do like this. However, I mainly use these two shades for contour, and I just find it has like a nice kind of cool tone look and blends really, really well. Often, if you want to do that technique where you will like chisel out and then chisel further by adding a deeper contour into the center of your contour from before, you can do that by having a palette like this rather than just having one contour pan. That's kind of what I like about this, and I do like how blendable this is and how buildable. Like, I am definitely prone to overdoing it with a contour, so for me, having something buildable is super beneficial. My favourite bronzer of the year is L'Oreal Back to Bronze. I remember I didn't really contour much in the summer and I exclusively used this, and when I did, it was occasionally a little bit patchy, so this does need a bit of blending to make it look nice, but it's a nice kind of brown tone, which I like. It's not orange. I have a problem with like orange here, and you can kind of see it does look a bit like orange on my neck. But on other areas, like if you've done your makeup, like it doesn't look orange around here. I use it to blend my blush and contour together before I highlight. It's a lovely bronzer and it lasts pretty well on me. Like, I really do enjoy it. I like the Life's a Peach blush that is in like the same kind of packaging as this, but that to me is more of a summer blush rather than all year round blush. This, however, I would use like all year round. I don't think that it's like not appropriate for the summer because it's not orangey warm. So Milani, I believe in the UK, you can only get on Beauty Bay or Feel Unique or websites like that. I don't believe it's sold in Boots or Superdrug or any of the kind of high street retailers like Debenhams or anything like that. But this is such a beautiful blush. This is the Baked Blush in Luminoso. It's the most popular blush like that I hear about, I swear to God. However, like behind NARS Orgasm perhaps, but I haven't tried that. This is fantastic. It has a really nice glow. It's not too peachy where it's a summer only blush. I use this all year round. It's on today. It gives you such a nice like flush of colour. It's also buildable enough that like I go in and clown face myself most days, but I can then tone this down as well and make it much more wearable. It's lovely. It has such a nice shade. It also has this little mirror in the bottom if you're interested. Most people aren't. It is a perfect blush that I took with me abroad. I just take this everywhere. Like, I think it gives you glowy makeup. If you do not want to like use a highlighter, for example, this is the super glowy blush that you can just apply to your cheeks, and you have enough of a glow that if you're using like a foundation that's not too matte, I think that you will probably get away with not using a highlighter. However, I'm always going to be using a highlighter. It should be no surprise to you guys that the O for Pillow Talk has been my favourite highlighter of the year. And I know that it's expensive, and this is one of the 3 now, thinking about it, high-end products. I do have alternatives which I have discussed in like a favourites and hate it's recently, which I'll link down below. But this is so beautiful. It just melts into the skin. it has this beautiful pink hue, which I actually like. Like, I'm proper into pink highlighters these days. Don't get me wrong, a champagne one is beautiful, but to me pink is like where it's at, and I know most people don't like that, so if you're not into a pink kind of tone, I believe they have like Rodeo Drive, and is it Blissful, and a few other shades that I think would work. The formula of these is so beautiful. They've all been repackaged now. They're all in these like white box kind of shaped packages, and you can't see the inside, which is good. These are super delicate though. Be careful not to drop this. Like, I find that my best highlighters are super delicate. I dropped my Maybelline Chrome Extreme in Spain and I almost cried. Like, oh my god, that thing shattered everywhere. So be very careful. You do only need a small amount of this product, so it'll take you forever to get through, but just be careful with it. So my favourite eye primer of the year is the MAC Paint Pot. You can use any kind of tone really. I have Soft Ochre, a lot of people also like Painterly. It's marketed as an eyeshadow, wouldn't use it for an eyeshadow. I don't think like it looks very good like when you put it on. Like once it's on, it looks a bit dodge, but it's a great eyeshadow base. I find it makes my makeup last there, and I don't really have any creasing. Like I definitely found before that with certain palettes, not with every palette, I would have creasing come the end of the day, especially when it gets hot and sweaty. I find this is quite good for keeping your eyelids from being hot and sweaty throughout the day, like in the summer. I do find that it helps the creasing more so in the summer than in the winter. But I do find that it's just a nice base for the eyeshadows to go on, and it does make it last longer throughout the year. It is a bit more expensive, it's like £16. You can get 10% student discount if you're a student on the MAC website. However, to me it is worth it because it makes anything you have perform better. Like if I found a primer that could work that way, I would be ecstatic. However, I don't. But to me, it makes every single eyeshadow palette I have work better for longer. And you know what? To me, that's worth it. You need like less palettes. You need to be topping up, for example, less often if that's what you're into. Therefore, your product's going to last longer. And isn't that kind of what we're all after? One of my favourite eyeshadow palettes to use with it is this Juvia's Place Magic palette. Now this has like a combination of warm tones and cool tones. If you're into that, like look at those shades. I do have a video like swatching all of these that I link down below. This is super pigmented. Like my god, these are pigmented. Like I put this shade on my lid with just my finger. This isn't wet, this shadow. This is so beautiful. Like Ozone is my favourite colour, you can probably see. And that was barely a swatch. And look at that. They're just so buttery soft. They're absolutely incredible. I swear I keep going, oh, I got more drugstore, but it's not. It's like a medium price, kind of like MAC. I think that this is a beautiful palette. You can get this off Beauty Bay and they're always having sales. They've got a new like loyalty scheme, I think. So if you can get money off because you've got loyalty points, I would totally recommend using that on a palette like this. It's so beautiful, it's so pigmented, so do be careful when blending, especially if you're a beginner. But I struggled at first because I wasn't super experienced. But you know what, I absolutely freaking love these shadows, and if you can work with them well, you can create some really incredibly pigmented, gorgeous looks. So the last three products, I do not feel like you guys are going to be like surprised at. I didn't think you'd be surprised with most of them, to be honest. Like, you'll have seen me use every single product I mentioned multiple times down on my channel. For example, Benefit Roller Lash. Now, when I tested my Benefit mascaras, this wasn't at the top of my list, but it is now. Like, I think what you want perhaps in a lash changes. Like, I find that this is not clumpy. I find it really separating and lifting. Like, I don't have to do like 12 layers to get the effect I want. 1, maximum 2 is plenty. Like, I have no problems using this mascara. I like the curve applicator and the short bristles for like fanning the lashes out. It works pretty well on the bottom lash line too, and it's not too wet. I think the problem we had with Bad Gal was that it was too wet. And the thing is, with a mini, I kind of like to go for minis. This is another point that I wanted to kind of make. Minis are great for if you try a lot of products like I do. if they dry out, you A, don't have as much wasted product and money, because this is like £10.50 rather than 20 odd quid like the full size is. And you get the same size brush with mascaras. I think it might be different with like your different like products such as lipsticks. You can have a different applicator perhaps, things like that. And like little samples of foundation, you have the little pots and things like that. But if you apply with a sponge, it doesn't make a difference. With this you do get the same kind of applicator brush moment. And I do absolutely freaking love it. Like, if I wasn't using other mascaras and testing out other mascaras, then I think I would buy a full size and exclusively use this. And I never ever thought, like 2-3 years ago, that I would spend that much money on makeup that I've spent now. However, it is absolutely perfect. I don't think I need another mascara really. So I'm moving on to the last two products. I thought I would go back into like drugstore again before I finish off with like my high-end setting spray. So this is the Maybelline Superstay lipstick. You can see the label here has like nearly rubbed off. I had to go searching for this before I filmed this video, and I found it in my handbag, like at the bottom, with another like lipstick or two that I just put in there when I like go out. I barely have to top this up. The reason I take it out is because I sometimes have to top up right here when I've had something oily, and I mean like a burger or something like that. This stuff does not come off. Like, I remember swatching these before work, like a night before work. I wash my hands regularly and I still had to give it another scrub the next day to try and get this stuff off. It is so long lasting, and you know what, this colour in particular, Ruler, I get asked every single time I wear this, near enough. Like, I'll go on a shift and nearly every time I get asked, oh, what's that lipstick? Where did you get it from? I've turned so many people onto this. I think out of all of the products, this is like my top 5. This has got to be my top 5 out of all of the makeup products I own. Literally almost started filming this bit without turning the camera on. Like, I was literally about to start talking and realised that my red light was not flashing. Well done, Jess. So this is MAC Prep and Prime, or Fix Plus, which you guys know it as. I get the coconut scent because I like the coconut scent. It doesn't really perform any differently from any of the other scents, but the coconut's my favourite. I feel like the squirty thing has definitely changed. I've only just like thrown out my other bottle, which I was using the last bits of for like eyeshadow application, because this has got a much finer mist now. It used to have like big like globules almost. It was still a fantastic setting spray. The formula I don't think has changed, but this like spritzer has. So if you had a problem with the spritzer before, maybe 6 months to more ago, then I think that this spritzer you will enjoy far more. So this retails for like £19, so it is a touch more high end. It's not like 24 or whatever that you're spending on Urban Decay or Niter. And I don't necessarily think that this makes your makeup last longer, but it melts it all together. Like, if you are looking like a powdery heap, which I can do, like if I'm wearing super matte makeup or I've put a lot of powder on because I know that it's going to be hot and that I'm going to sweat off my makeup, this still melts it all together, and then I don't find that I'm going to sweat my makeup off because I've set it with the powder. It just makes the makeup just sink in, and it's my all-time favourite setting spray. It's most people's all-time favourite setting spray. You don't just hear about it because it's plugged. Like, I'm a channel that doesn't have the resources to be plugged, do you know what I'm saying? I don't plug anything to you guys. What you hear from me is always honest feedback, and this by far, again, top 5. Like, this is something that transforms your makeup game, and I swear the last half of the bottle goes quicker than the second half. Like, I don't understand how it works myself, however I swear that happens. But anyway, I have been talking really quickly like for ages, but that is all of the products. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. These are like my top of the top for 2018. This is definitely going up in December at some point, who knows when. All my videos are a bit mixed up in my head at the moment because I'm filming a bunch and then editing them, and it's kind of whatever gets edited first kind of goes live. So we'll see when this goes up. It might be before or after my birthday, which is the 17th, if anyone's interested. But yeah, I'm so excited. But 2018 has been a great year. I started this channel, like, I've lived with Sam for a year now, the lucky guy. And by lucky guy, I mean he is, like, I am lucky to have him put up with me. Discovering makeup in this way has actually transformed my life to some extent. Like, I have this full-time hobby now, and these are the best things that have come from it. These are the best products that I've found this year, and I expect to find more in 2019. So if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave, and if you press that notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload. Thank you for watching.